Nihongo o benkyou shitai kedo, doko kara hajimera wa ii no ka wakarimasen ka? Sorena korega anata no tame no video desu. Today, I'm going to show you how to become fluent in Japanese, starting from absolute zero. Based on a study by Japan Switch, it takes roughly 2,200 hours for an English speaker to become fluent in Japanese. But if you're not sure what you're doing and you're using those hours ineffectively, it will take you a lot longer to reach fluency. However, knowing the correct techniques might take you less time to reach fluency, and that essentially is the goal of this video, to show you the best way to spend those 2,200 hours. So the first thing you'll have to do is to learn the Japanese writing system. And I'm gonna be honest, learning the writing system is very daunting for an English speaker because of how different it is from the English alphabet. Additionally, the Japanese alphabet is essentially 3 writing systems that work together. These 3 systems are called hiragana, katakana, and kanji, of which hiragana and katakana are alphabets that serve as a foundational knowledge for learning kanji. But I've got you some cool steps to help you learn them effectively. So the first thing you need to do is to start with hiragana. And hiragana is the basic syllabary used in the Japanese writing system. Begin by learning 1 row at a time and gradually add new rows. Step 2, practice writing. Regularly practice writing hiragana and katakana characters on paper. This will help you memorize the stroke order and improve your handwriting. And now step number 3, drill exercises. Utilize flashcards, online quizzes, or smartphone apps that provide practice exercises for hiragana and katakana. And 4th, write and repeat. Write out each character multiple times, saying and the pronunciation aloud as you write. Repetition is key to reinforcing your memory. Once you've got the hang of the writing system, the next step is learning words and kanji. It's great to incorporate learning 2 things at the same time. You will unconsciously learn new words through the other techniques that I will mention in the video, but you still need to dedicate some time to intentionally learning new words. For me, a good benchmark I'd give you is to spend between 5 to 10 minutes a day learning new words, and it takes approximately 3,000 to 5,000 words to become fluent in Japanese. Therefore, if you spend those 5 to 10 minutes a day and you try to learn like between 4 to 8 words a day, which is quite low, then within a year, you should comfortably have learned between over 1,400 and just under 3,000 words. And within 2 years, you would have comfortably learned over 5,000 words. And the best tool I suggest for this is the Moji Kanji Learn Japanese app. It's not just good for learning kanji, but also for learning new words. But why? Well, that's because of a fun thing called space repetition and golden time. The amazing thing about the Moji apps is that it uses an amazing technique called space repetition and a special algorithm, which essentially means that it predicts when you're most likely to forget a word and will show you that word at the golden time just before you forget it. And this essentially helps maximize memory retention and increases your chances of remembering words. Space repetition is phenomenal, and it's something a lot of polyglots credit as one of the main techniques that helps them learn multiple new languages at a faster rate. Simply put, without setting alarms or any signs, the app will automatically remind you to revise those words at the right time. And now the course list. The lovely thing about the Moji Kanji app is that it isn't only for beginners. It covers Japanese learners from all levels of fluency as per the Japanese Fluency Ranking System, or the JLPT for short. And in addition to that, you get the opportunity to experience a lesson and review a lesson. So in opening a lesson, you will experience learning the words and kanji in the form of flashcards including audio, words, meaning, and examples, alongside amazing and interactive quizzes. And not only that, but when your golden time is up, you will learn the review lesson, where you will get to revise through all the learned words through various quizzes, reading, listening, and writing. And thanks to that, you can exert these words into your memory a lot better. Moji Kanji also classifies each word into 5 levels of memorization, from level 1 for just learned words to level 5 for long-term memory. You can check the digital notebook to have an insight into each word level. And in addition to that, in the conversation section, Moji Kanji provides daily conversations for basic level speaking, so you can be more confident in terms of Japanese communication. And then in addition to that, there's also kanji writing, and with the help of this, you can learn how to write kanji with the correct stroke order through practice exercises from kanji N5 to kanji N4. And in addition to that, there's the J dictionary, the Moji garden, and the events. If there is a word in a sample sentence that you don't know the meaning of, you can look it up on the J dictionary, a new feature on this app on the website version. And by the way, to keep your motivation in learning, you can join the Moji garden, where you can plant your trees and take care of them by achieving goals. Also, you can get a special gift from Moji via the monthly events. So here's an example of a trial lesson using the Moji Kanji app.
私 私 私 私 私 あの人 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 あの 教師 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 教師
Now for one more tip before I get to the fun tips, and that is grammar. Learning grammar in a new language kind of sucks, but it is crucial to understanding and communicating effectively. For English speakers, Japanese grammar will be a little difficult in the early stages because Japanese grammar works differently from English grammar. English is a subject, verb, object language, but Japanese is a subject, object, verb language. Therefore, you will have to slightly change how you think when you're reading, speaking, or writing in Japanese. But with enough practice, you will eventually get the hang of it. The resource I highly suggest is the Genki textbook. This book is one of the highest rated grammar books in Japan. It will take you from beginner level to expert level grammar. It essentially has a whole bunch of exercises for you to practice from, and so many other awesome tips within the book. And it will essentially give you the exposure to learning the grammar and practicing the grammar for you to get to that fluent level. A good benchmark is to try to spend 1 to 2 hours a week intentionally studying with this textbook. Okay, so now that the more boring tips and the intentional studying is out of the way, the remaining tips and techniques are more passive and are focused on comprehensible input. For those that don't know, comprehensible input is essentially when you're kind of being exposed to the language at a level that is not too easy for you to understand everything, but also not too hard that you understand nothing. There's enough information given implicitly as to what is being discussed or addressed. Like for example, if you're watching a Japanese show and one of the characters says "Ringo taberu," and they say that while eating an apple, you might not know what he's saying, but you can kind of imply that, oh, okay, he meant he's eating an apple. So Ringo, apple, taberu, eat. So that's kind of how comprehensible input works. And for comprehensible input, there are 3 different types of comprehensible input that you can use, which is TVs and movies, podcasts, and reading, which essentially is books. So for TVs and movies, the unfortunate reality is that anime is not really the best comprehensible input, because most people in Japan do not speak like that. Well, Japanese native speakers don't speak like that, because anime is more exaggerated for entertainment purposes. But there is one type of anime that you can watch, which is slice of life anime. That is some really good anime you can watch, and here's some slice of anime that you can watch. Okay, and next is reading. So for reading, there's a writer that I really enjoy his books. His name is Ollie Richards. He makes books for all languages, but for this video, of course, you will need to check out Short Stories for Learning Japanese. That's a very good book to check out. And essentially, the way these books work is that they focus more on the storytelling aspect of the book, right? So you learn more through the story than you do through just reading per se. And it's very good in terms of the fact that you won't understand all the words, but you will be able to pick up the words you don't understand based on the context that is given in the story. And then podcasts. So in terms of podcasts, the goal is to find a podcast that is for beginners, a podcast that is not too hard but also not too easy. And I'll basically show you a bunch of podcasts that I think are very good for beginners. So there they go. And for the reading, watching, and listening, my suggestion, if you can, is to watch at least 30 minutes a day. And then in terms of listening, listen on your commute to or from work,